So thanks for riding along with me today. I'm on the way back over to the AeroMarine Innovation Center. I always enjoy visiting there, but the goal today, look at the avionics, look at the wiring harnesses, and honestly, try and answer the question that a lot of people have is, what's taken so long? But you know what? If you think that question's new to aviation, you'd be very wrong. Two projects that I had the privilege to be involved with when I worked at Rockwell was the B-1 bomber and the very end of the shuttle program. Both those programs had horrendous delays, cancellations, missed starts, modifications. And if you think a big corporation had that much trouble, just stop to think what an innovative new design costing under $50,000, built by people that have got other parts of their life that they have to deal with and other projects, the delays that they might face. Well, let's go over there and see what's going on. I think I've got an explanation for you. Stand by. Well, there's the airport. This place is really cool. It's quaint. It's certainly got some interesting architecture to the hangars, and I really enjoy visiting here. The goal today is to meet with Don and see the avionics panel and how that's going. They've run the engine in this, but have not done the first flight yet, and of course I'm excited about that. And I don't know the date when that happens, but I always enjoy visiting here. This is exciting for me, and I'm happy to have you here with us today. Stop and look for low-flying aircraft. Don't see any. Good to go. Grass and blacktop strip. I bet Jimmy's World would like to come over here because there's some hangar queens here. Stuff that looks like it hadn't flown in a while. Jimmy's World. Can I get a clear prop? That's an example. That has not flown in a long time. That one hadn't either. A V-tail Beach. Well, we're going to see an airplane that's never flown either, but it's going to fly. And Don will be able to tell us all about it. Well, whenever I come over here, and regardless of what my mission is when I'm here, I generally stand there and look at this design, look at the fit and finish, and decide I've still made a good choice. The best choice for me, very possibly my forever airplane. At my age, I'm looking for something that I'm going to fly for quite a while and enjoy. And in that way, it dawns on me that a little bit of a delay is very possibly worth it. Now, we got to define little delay there, but I'm saying, are the delays worth it? Well, let me read you some stats on a famous airplane, the B-52. The contract went out in 1946. Its first flight was in 1952, approximately 6 years later. It went in service in 1955. Well, it's expected to serve until the 2050s. That's 100 years. So when you look at how long you're going to enjoy an airplane like this and all the advantages of an airplane like this, these delays are annoying and maybe unavoidable, but in any case, in my view, worth it.
So as I said, I think the build quality, the design quality of this airplane is as good or better than certified airplanes. When I first saw it, I was surprised how small it was. I climbed into it, and then I just saw the fit and finish of the airplane, and I was very impressed. It's a very well designed airplane. It's a very sturdy airplane, and it's easy to build.
And after the assembly, you are the designated mechanic.
You can be if you get the FAA to sign off on the paperwork.
Right.
So when the FAA comes out to do the inspection and certify your airplane, at that time you also have this other form because the FAA inspector sees that you actually did build it.
Yeah.
So you can be qualified to become the designated mechanic on your airplane, but only your airplane. So even though I'm the designated mechanic on my Merlin, I cannot sign off annuals for
Yeah.
the other Merlins.
Yeah, you can't put out your shingle as a A and P.
No.
You are designated for that
I'm
airplane.
the A&P for my airplane only.
Right.
That's it.
And my thinking on this, inexpensive to buy, inexpensive to operate. We just added inexpensive to maintain.
Right.
This is the ideal airplane in this category.
I think so, especially with this new engine they're developing
Yeah.
for this airplane.
Well, we've seen it run. Now the harnesses are being perfected,
Yep.
instrumentation being done, and flying will be soon.
Yep.
I love it. Thank you. Nice seeing you again.
Thank you.
So what's my report? Well, Don, who's a double engineer, I might be an eighth of an engineer. He's a double engineer. Takes this laptop, troubleshoots the wiring harness. The original wiring harness that comes from the engine manufacturer is for a totally different vehicle, turn signals, everything else. That wiring harness was cut down and perfected and has now been sent off to the manufacturer. When you get your wiring harness, it will be from the factory, tested, made beautifully, ready to install, right lengths, right ends on each cable. So that's not to worry about. The project right now, and Don's doing it maybe with this laptop you're looking at, is the avionics wiring harness, which very possibly he'll be supervising the assembly of that. And that's being started now. So that's the report on avionics cables, where they're at, and what's going on with them. Engine runs. It ran on the old harness, which is now being perfected. And I wish it was quicker, but these are one of these things that I want Don to do. I don't want to do the wiring harness. Speaking of that, when we say build it yourself, what we're talking about is the quick assembly kit, which some people could easily do in a month. This airframe is built when you get it. You're going to need to put the engine on. That's if you do it yourself. If you choose to assemble it, you're going to put the engine on, the avionics package in, details like hoses, routing, and that kind of thing, maybe hooking up flight controls, which all of that is what I want to do. A little bit of a challenge, but I'm up to it. So when we say build it yourself, when Don says build it yourself, you are not going to be pulling 100,000 rivets. You're going to be finish assembling the airplane, understanding the controls, the concepts, knowing what you're flying and who put it together. And that's what we mean by build it yourself. So that's the report. And in closing, I got to say, when I look at this picture, when I stand there and look at this view of the airplane, it looks to me like it should cost way more than it does. This is professionally designed, fabricated, mostly assembled, and look at that. It's beautiful. This is not rag and tube or other things that you may have thought of in this category. This is an all-metal, enclosed, full avionics airplane. That's what I want.